All right, thanks everyone for joining us on another episode of Rockland's News. I'm your host, Tom Ossa, and thanks for joining us today. We've got a lot of news to cover. For instance, the Sane Building redevelopment advances. Albany, there's a lot of different chapter amendments that are being explained right now. We'll be talking about some comments from former state senator David Carlucci, as well as election season. And it's starting to heat up, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll talk about that as well. But first of all, we have our guest today, Nyack Village Mayor Joe Rand. Joe, thanks for joining us on Rockland's News this morning.
Tom, pleasure to be here as always.
Yeah, absolutely. So I believe that you yesterday I saw the notification that you locked in the nomination for the Working Families Party A for District 38, New York State District 38, currently held by Senator Bill Weber. So I guess up in November, the people will decide who will take that seat for the next several years.
Yeah, this was a big deal because, when you run, you can run on multiple lines. So there's, you get the ballot, there's multiple lines. So there's the typically around here, there's the Republican line and the conservative line, and then there's the Democratic line and the Working Families line. And I was endorsed by the Working Families Party, but they mounted, a bunch of Republicans mounted a write-in campaign against me that was very well funded, very well organized. And they were essentially trying to hijack the line by putting somebody who was not really a Working Families adherent. He doesn't really believe in the principles of the Working Families Party like I do, which is to reduce costs for average homeowners and to look out for unions and to be aware of climate change and things like that. Really looking out for working families. But the Republicans put somebody up simply so that if they win the primary, they have somebody who's just a dummy, not a dummy like dumb dummy, but a dummy like a holding person, just somebody who doesn't really count, who's not really going to win, but can take votes on that line from people who aren't really paying attention and say, oh, I vote for the Working Families Party because I believe in working families ideals. Well, they've done it before. They did it to Elijah 2 years ago. They did it to Mondaire Jones 2 years ago in the congressional race, and they tried to do it to me, and we beat it back. We won overwhelmingly. We had massive turnout for a working families primary, and this is the first time we've ever that we've beaten back one of these because they're usually more well organized than we are. But this time we out organized them. We out hustled them, and we got the line, which means in the fall I'll be nominated. You can vote for me both from the Democratic line and the Working Families Party line. I'll be on both lines.
Got it. So the Democratic line, you'll be on that one as well on the ballot.
Yeah, that I did not even have a primary or a write-in campaign. I got that one a few months ago by petitioning to get on it, and then nobody opposed me.
Interesting.
So
okay.
I'll be the Democratic nominee. I'm the Democratic nominee, and now I'm not officially yet because it's not certified,
right.
But all intents and purposes, the official WFP nominee.
Interesting. Okay. So, and you mentioned before about the components that you're most concerned about if you get into this particular seat, Senate District 38. One you mentioned before had to do with affordable housing. And I know you've been on the show before talking about, I remember about maybe 5 months ago, we were talking about the difference between affordable housing large A versus affordable housing small A, where, government subsidies one, but then there's also the ability to, just create smart housing without the need for subsidization.
Yeah, the capital A is the affordable, like government subsidized, either by subsidizing rent payments or by actually building housing. And then there's the lowercase a, which is just simply cutting red tape to allow for builders to build housing more cheaply, which keeps the cost down, which adds more inventory, which tends to drive the price down for home buyers. That's what we really need to do. And I'm really proud that the Governor Hochul did pass some reforms that got through in the budget to do CEQA reform, which will streamline some of the environmental reviews, not in any way that hurts the environment, but just in a way that eliminates some red tape for properties that really aren't environmentally fragile, that have already been built on and stuff like that. to be able to build more housing, because that's what we need. But it's not just housing though. It's affordability in every level. It's utilities. It's gas prices. It's energy prices. It's groceries and things like that. We need to have a much more rigorous affordability agenda going forward in Albany and in Washington, for that matter.
Yeah. And you also mentioned about looking out for the unions. So could you tell us a little bit about, I guess, how you approach unions and how you work with them?
Yeah, I'm listen. I come from my background. I had union members. Both my grandfathers were members of unions. I grew up respecting and admiring people that work in unions, and the unions themselves and what they do for people. And I think that what unions do is they protect the dignity of work, and they protect people's safety. They protect their incomes. They ensure that they're going to work in a dignified fashion, be able to retire in dignity, and that's, I think, really important. And I like that New York State is a strong union state. I know not everybody believes that, because I really do believe that we build our economy from the ground up. You give tax breaks to rich people, they put it in their pocket, they put it into various investments, but they don't necessarily spend it in a way that drives the economy. You build the lower end of the economy, build the roots of the economy, the ground floor of the economy. You build with working people, and you put money in their pockets. They recirculate it through the economy, and that grows the economy. That's the way to build this. Not trickle down, not top down, bottom up. And that's what I want to do in Albany. And that's the kind of policies that I want to pursue. And those are very union-friendly policies.
And we're on the website for your campaign right now. It's Joe Rand RAND.com. For those of you that want to get some more information. You also have a mention here on public safety. Now, I know for a fact that your work as the mayor of one of the largest villages in Rockland County, the village of Nyack, that public safety is certainly something that you have to be keeping an eye on every day. I mean, I recall the fires that occurred from the 2 apartment complexes. And I remember within a matter of minutes, you were posting about the current status and that the families were able, thankfully, to get out, but emergency services. So are there any, let's just say, platforms or I guess stances that you have toward adjusting how public safety works from an Albany standpoint?
Well, I think that we need to be more cognizant of as a mayor, I don't have the luxury of kind of addressing these issues from an abstract level. When you're the mayor and you're responsible particularly for one of the most important downtown areas in Rockland County, maybe in the Hudson Valley, and you have to keep that doing well. We have over 150 businesses in our downtown, and that's a lot of businesses to keep going. And so we need the downtown to do well, which means we can't have disorder. We have to maintain law and order there. And I sometimes end up at odds with some of the people to my left, some of my friends to the left in the Democratic Party, because I really do believe that we have to maintain control. We have to keep down quality of life issues in the downtown area, and that means cooperating and respecting the police. Like, I was never the people that argued defund the police. I thought that was a terrible slogan. I thought it was a terrible idea. But I'll tell you what we have done, which I think is really the proper approach to this, is that when it comes to downtown quality of life issues, we're approaching it from both angles, both a law enforcement angle, because we did create what we call the safety patrol. We put $50,000 into hiring a private security firm to do foot patrols to supplement the great work that's done by the Orangetown Police Department. And on the other hand, we also are putting $50,000 into hiring a social worker with Catholic Charities who's going to work with some of the at-risk people who are on the street, either panhandling, or they're people that they're experiencing homelessness, or whatever the case may be, because you nearly need both things. The concept of, we're going to do everything from a law and order lens, I don't think is correct. And the concept, the perspective that, well, we shouldn't maintain law and order. What we should do, these are all social issues. They ought to be, I think it's both. I think we have to have a balance. We have to have law and order, so we need to support the police, but we also need, the police can't do everything, and they're not supposed to be social workers. So we also need social workers, which is why, for the first time in Nyack's history, we hired one.
Okay. All right. Got it. So approaching the public safety component from being able to make sure that both types of approaches are both addressed, funded, and a process is created for
Yeah.
that. And you mentioned Catholic Charities as well. So, and that's one of the
Yep.
initiatives that you'll have if you are elected. And the when is the election? It's in November. It's the first Tuesday in November,
November.
right?
First Tuesday of November. November, I believe it's November 3rd, but it's the first Tuesday in November. You'll hear more about it as we get closer, Tom. The date will be burned into your
You
retinas
can tell
by
that, like,
signs on every street corner in the county.
I run a damn news organization, and I just asked a candidate when the election is. I don't know if that's a good look for us at
You know,
Rockland's News, but I hope you that are listening get the
listen, if
point.
everybody
Yeah.
forgets the actual day, it's November. I was right. It's November 3rd. November 3rd. Everybody just remember that. That's election day. It's 4 months and change away from today. So we're getting close. We're getting closer. I mean, I've been running now for almost 8 months.
Yeah.
8 months, and I got 4 months left. This is a long process, man.
I don't know how
This
you
goes
do it
on and
with
on.
like managing the campaign, but also managing the village. Like I said, it's like one of the biggest villages in Rockland and a lot of downtown nightlife. I'm there, Casa del Sol sometimes and everything. So I don't know how you do it. What time do you get up in the morning?
I get up really early. I'm an early riser, but I'm also in bed pretty early, so I try to
Yeah.
get some sleep. But I'm up by like 4:30, 5 o'clock. I'm out getting my coffee and at Dunkin's over on 59 because it's the only place that's open that early. People say, "Why don't you get coffee in the downtown like some support?" Well, first of all, Nyack is a big place, and Dunkin' Donuts is in Nyack. They're Nyack business too, and also at 5 o'clock, nothing's open.
Yeah.
Tom, when you're up at 5 a.m., I'm such an early riser that the funny thing that happens is that I'll be working for like 3 or 4 hours at my desk, and I'll say, "Oh, I got to go to the post office." So I go to the post office. I'm like, "It's closed. Why is the post office closed?" And I'll realize it's 7:30. It's not open yet. I'll
Telling the
go to the bank and try
organizations to
get there.
catch
They're
up
like,
with you.
"Why
Yeah.
Yeah, people have to, those of us who get up early, we really do get penalized because nothing's open for a long time after
Yeah.
we started working.
Well, I get up right now. The average is about 6:15, and I'm still trying to edge it back behind 6 o'clock, like 5:45, 5:30. It just doesn't have. I will say that waking up and going to sleep early, like if I can get to sleep by like 10:30, that helps. But
Yep,
it's still a
it
struggle.
helps. It
I think
does
it's
help.
sometimes I do
Listen,
think that it's
I'm
like
just gonna tell
DNA.
you.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think, well, yeah. I mean, I tend to be a naturally early riser, so it helps. I'm not saying that I'm not saying I've made this unbelievable, self discipline to do it. I mean, it sort of came naturally to me.
Right.
But the fact is, I mean, something someone told me a long time ago. They said, "Nothing good happens after midnight, dude. Nothing good. You go to the ATM, that money doesn't get well spent. Any decisions you make after 12 are severely compromised. So go to bed, get up. I love being up at 5 o'clock. This is a great time of year to be up at 5 o'clock because it's actually sunny. The sun's
Oh,
out
it's
by
gorgeous. Yeah.
5:15 or so. So there's light in the sky. Come November and December, being up at 5 a.m. is no fun because it's dark for 2 hours. But now, this time of year, man, I recommend it to everybody. Get up an hour earlier. You get a lot more done in the day.
Yeah, no, that's true. I see the difference whenever I get up earlier and it's just more productive. I feel a little better too. Like the energy level is good. So that's a plus.
Yeah,
A few more questions. I know you got a busy day ahead of you. The
sure.
first is so, let's say if you are elected to New York State Senate District 38, and again, we're on with Village of Nyack Mayor Joe Rand, who's secured the nomination for the Working Families Party, as well as the Democratic nomination to go for New York Senate District 38 this coming November 3rd, notably. So
November 3rd.
yeah. So a few quick questions. One, what would be your approach? And again, you're a Rocklander, Nyack Village Mayor. What would be your approach if you do get the office? Will you have an office up in Albany so that you can communicate with your constituents? Are you going to be spending most of your time in Rockland? How do you envision your workflow, if you will?
I think that's pretty standard across the board. This is what most people do: is that you're in session January to June, usually Monday through Wednesday or Monday through Thursday. And those days you're up in Albany and you have an Albany office with staff up there, but you also maintain a local office, which is where you do a lot of constituent service work. And the days that you're not up in Albany, you work out of the local office and you have staff in the local office, which is staff that's really, they're geared toward handling, problems people have. any kind of problem. I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, I ran a service business in the real estate industry for 25 years. I wrote books about how to deliver great service experiences to real estate clients. And so I'm actually very eager. One of the things I'm really interested in is finding ways to deliver really good constituent service on a local level if I get into office in January, because that's what I try to do as mayor. As
Mm-hmm.
mayor, everybody, I have an open door policy. Everybody's got my email. A lot of people have my mobile phone. People reach out to me with all sorts of problems. I don't have a staff to handle it, but I do try to handle it as much as I can, or at least coordinate with building department or DPW or whoever it is that can help them if they have, some curb problem or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I get lots of those kinds of things, and that's the schedule. That's the way it generally runs.
Okay. All right. So you got a plan for that. And then the status of the village mayor. So if you're elected to office, is there a special election for village mayor?
It actually, the way it works is there would be the board itself would pick the next mayor, who would then hold office until the next election, which would be next November.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
So
if
next November.
I do win, I have to step down, and then somebody will get appointed by the board to fill the spot for a period of time until there's an election.
Steward the office. And I know from experience that the policies of a previous administration, they usually resonate through the next year or two. So whatever policies are in place, those will continue on should you move to Senate District 38, and then the mayor spot is up is open that next November. And then the last question I have for
Well,
you is
I would
obviously.
just say this: it's
Yeah,
not
go ahead.
just policies. I was just gonna say it's not just policies, but like we have a lot of programs in place. I mean, we got $4.5 million in the New York Forward Grant. That money has just been identified recently. It's going to be starting to get spent and invested in NIAC within the next couple of months, and that's going to run all through the end of next year and probably for a few years to come. That money's going to get invested. So whoever is mayor is going to inherit a really good opportunity to remake NIAC and make it even better with all that money that we got through the New York Forward Grant. So there's all
Got it.
this. It's not just policies; it's also just the ability to keep implementing programs that we put in place during my administration.
Investment. Yeah. That sounds, and I imagine that there's a list of initiatives that are already going to be placed once the New York Forward money
Absolutely.
is implemented. Last
Yep,
question.
absolutely.
So the last question I have is, so obviously Senate District 38, the incumbent for that seat right now is Senator Bill Weber. He'll be the on the Republican ticket. Do you have any plans for communicating with them? Will there be a discussion between the two of you, like a public discussion? How would that work?
Well, I mean, Bill's a good guy. I like him. We run into each
Yeah,
other periodically. We have a very cordial relationship. It's always a little bit, when you're running against each other for office, there's
of
always a little
course.
bit
Yeah.
of it's not the friendliest, but we're friendly enough, and he's a nice man, and I like and respect him. And we run into each other. If you're asking about a formal debate, I expect that we'll have some. I certainly would welcome it. I think that the public does get something out of it about seeing us talk to each other about different policy issues. I think there's some differences between us in both temperaments and the way we approach issues and some of our policies and what we're trying to do up in Albany in terms of bringing money back to the district. So I think it's good for us to explore those differences. I'm not going to say I want to have this many debates or that many debates or anything like that. But I do think that I welcome the opportunity.
We saw that
to debate
yesterday
him.
with the other. There was not, it was like 6 debates. I was like,
I
whoa, that's a
wasn't going to
lot.
say. I wasn't going to say. I mean, I'll do as many debates as people want, as people will listen to. 6 debates is a lot in terms of, like, I don't know if people's attention spans are that long. But certainly, I would certainly welcome that. I'd love to see more debates in the congressional 17th race. That's great. I think it's great that my call for that. I hope we do get a lot of debates there, and I hope we get an opportunity to do formal debates and conversations and whatnot. That me and Bill get a chance to sit up on stage together and explain where we stand to the people of Rockland.
Well, actually, I'm just going to toss this out there, and I know I'm putting you on the spot, but we have a great facility in this area. It's Fieldstone Middle School, and it seats about 300 people, if I'm not mistaken. I've actually run a debate over there for the supervisors for Stony Point and Haverstraw, respectively, and I had a moderator there that provided the questions and everything. I will reach out to them if y'all are. I'll of course check with Bill as well to see if that might be a suitable forum. So I'll look into that and I'll get back to you guys when the time is right.
I would be happy to debate anywhere, any place. Just make sure it should probably be in the district. That's the only thing. You got to make
Right.
sure it's in
Yeah.
the 38th, which
Absolutely.
means it can't be in Stony Point.
Can't
It's
be
got
in
to be
Stony
in
Point.
one of the other four towns.
Yeah, it's in
In Stony
Garnerville.
Point.
It's in Garnerville, I believe, or
Okay,
Thiels.
then
Yeah.
it's in Haverstraw. That's true.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Then I'd be delighted.
Okay. All right. So we'll check around, and this is friendly. And I mean, just from a personal level, I like both you guys. I've spoken with you for the last 4 years since Rockland News started. So, I think to me, I think the thing that's important is discussing the issues. It seems like you guys get along pretty well, but discussing the issues and the best path forward. So I'm rooting. May the best person for the seat win. But yeah, it should be a really I think a professional approach to it, making sure that whatever needs to be adjusted at the Albany level, whoever can do it, that would be the person for the job. So, Mayor Village of Nyack, Joe Rand, going for Senate District 38 this fall. Thank you for joining us on Rockland News today.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Okay, you got it. All right, so we're going to also get into some of the news that is on the wire these days. Just as a note, you could catch all the news that's relevant to you and important to you at rocklandnews.com. We post approximately 20 stories per week on a variety of topics. We just had Village of Nyack Mayor Joe Rand that has secured the candidacy to go up against, I'll say, Senate District 38 Bill Weber, and that will happen. The election will happen on November 3rd, Tuesday, November 3rd. But let's get into some other news that's been going around. For instance, yesterday, it was actually 2 days ago, we had the election for the Democratic nominee for New York State 17, District 17. Congressman Mike Lawler is the incumbent. Democrat Kate Conley, an Army veteran and former national security official, won the Democratic Party primary on Tuesday to go up against Mike Lawler this coming fall, again, November 3rd, defeating a field that included Rockland County legislator Beth Davidson of Nyack. The district includes all of Rockland County, along with parts of Westchester and Dutchess. And the race against Republican Congressman Mike Lawler is already being set up as one of the most competitive House contests in the country. Conley's win moves the campaign from a crowded primary into a closely watched November fight over Hudson Valley representation. In response to the Democratic nomination getting secured by Kate Conley, Congressman Mike Lawler responded by challenging Ms. Conley to not one, not two, not three or four, but 6 debates. Now, that's interesting. I kind of want to be at all of them if that happens, but it's like one of those things where it's just I like the idea that the candidates are going to go up and at it with each other, hopefully about the topics. But we all know from previous experiences that these things get contentious. So it's an important thing to note that sometimes it gets personal. Hopefully it doesn't get that way. But being able to watch how people go back and forth at each other with the facts, and hopefully they have better tone than I do, but hopefully the best candidates for these potential contests will win. And we're going to be covering a lot of this. Like I mentioned, we do have a really cool venue right down the road from here at Fieldstone Middle School, where we can hold a debate. I don't know if we're going to get Congressman Lawler versus Kate Conley, unless there's 6 of them. Maybe we'll get 1 out of the 6. But I'm fairly certain that we can do something for the Senate District 38, Senator Bill Weber versus challenger Nyack Village Mayor Joe Rand. We just had him on the show, and he secured the Democratic nomination. So I'm going to check in with the Central School District about that to see if we can hold a debate at a suitable time for Rockland's news. Some other items of importance in the news wire: Rockland County is moving ahead with a major redevelopment proposal for the long vacant Sane building property, that's SAIN, Sane building property in New City. Now, note that this is the building that's right across the street from the official Rockland County government offices, the executive office, as well as the county court clerk and the legislature and such, right across the street from there. And the county has selected Regan Development Corporation and the Rockland Housing Action Coalition to negotiate plans for the site on New Hempstead Road. The preliminary plan calls for demolishing the old 6-story building and replacing it with a 3-story mixed-use development, including 48 affordable rental apartments, retail space, and public recreation or park space. Before any construction begins, however, the county legislature must approve an executive and exclusive negotiating agreement, and more public review and land use approvals would still be required. Rockland County Business Journal is highlighting a less visible but important part of New York lawmaking: chapter amendments. Former state senator David Carlucci is explaining that even after a bill passes the legislature, Albany may still rewrite or clarify the details before a law takes effect. Those changes can shape deadlines, enforcement, and compliance rules for businesses, nonprofits, and advocacy groups. The takeaway for Rockland organizations is this: the end of the legislative session does not mean that the policy work is over. The groups affected by the new laws may still need to stay engaged while state agencies and lawmakers and the governor's office work through the implementation details. In just looking for another news item here. Rockland Post. We haven't had anything from them in a while. Welcome back. Rockland Post is carrying a county executive message urging Albany to revive a fire safety reform package. Rockland County Executive Ed Day says that county officials, firefighters, and lawmakers first backed the package in early 2024, that's 2 years ago, after local tragedies exposed gaps in code enforcement. The proposals would strengthen building and fire code enforcement, improve emergency communications, support the first responders, and create stronger penalties when serious violations puts lives at risk. Day says that the state legislative session ended without the full package crossing the finish line, and he is calling on Rockland's state delegation and Albany leaders to return to the issue when lawmakers reconvene. And Nyack News and Views is focusing on the now set NY17 general election matchup. Democrat Kate Conley, an Army veteran and former national security official, won the party primary Tuesday, defeating a field that included Rockland County legislator Beth Davidson of Nyack. And again, for the nominee for that, Kate Conley is going to be going up against Congressman Mike Lawler on November 3rd. And I'm sure there's going to be at least a few debates, because Congressman Lawler basically challenged Ms. Conley to 6 debates. I hope there's one a month. Let's see how it goes. The district includes all of Rockland County, along with parts of Westchester and Dutchess, maybe 2 a month in certain months, because, you just build up to it's going to be, I consider this the most wonderful time of the year, because we get to sit back and just listen. Lawler's already being positioned as one of the most competitive House contests in the country, that he's going up against Kate Conley. Conley's win moves the campaign from a crowded primary into this closely watched November fight over Hudson Valley representation. So again, you got November, you're going to have Kate Conley v. Mike Lawler, and Nyack Village Mayor Joe Rand v. Senator Bill Weber for New York State Senate District number 38. Pardon me, got a cough? Okay, I have coughed. All right, the Muncie Scoop. There's a live blog yesterday that was tracking several local updates for the Muncie and Ramapo area. This morning, the site reported that the Tefilas Mordecai Minka area, hope I'm saying that right, is open for the summer every Thursday at the Spring Valley Marketplace from 6 to 11 p.m. with a large outdoor tent and on-site signs. The live blog also logged a busy Wednesday evening for first responders, including a 3-vehicle crash on Convent Road in Nanuet with injuries reported, and a pedestrian struck on Rita Avenue in Muncie where Hatzela EMS and Ramapo police responded. And in the interest of just focusing back in on our main self imposed mandate at Rockland's News this year, we have made sure that we stuck with the mandate of traffic safety. And I'm going to read something to you from our colleagues over at GMG PR. Stephanie Dixon, the account executive for GMG Public Relations, posted this message about Rockland County safe streets. And let me just read it off to you real quick. As summer outdoor activities increase and more people walk, bike, attend community events, travel, and prepare for America 250, the July 4th celebrations, Rockland County reminds everyone to stay alert, follow traffic laws, and share the road safely. Everyone has a role to play in preventing roadway crashes, and I've seen them with my own two eyes. I was almost in two car accidents yesterday driving from here to one of our sponsors, Kobe Sushi. They had a great nighttime yesterday with jazz musician. His name is what's his name? Romano is his last name, and he was absolutely fantastic. I'm not going off on a tangent here. I just want to make sure that I get the right name. His name is George Romano. You can look him up on Spotify and Apple Music. Fantastic, fantastic singer and guitar musician. And he was over at Kobe Sushi, but then last night we're driving over there and just nut jobs on the road. There's no other way to put it. Nut jobs. They're like, I'm not going fast enough on the road. They're flashing lights behind me, like, go faster. I slowed down. Thank you to my uncle for telling me about that strategy. In other words, if somebody, like, starts honking and flashing lights, don't react or respond. Just go a little bit safer on the road. Slow down. And then the other part of this is there's people like there was, for instance, the North Rockland High School. They had their graduation ceremony yesterday, and people are walking like on the road in order to get to this thing. One guy just pulled over, put his car like halfway in the middle of traffic and halfway off, just like, casually asking questions like, hey, how do I do that? Causing huge traffic jams. It could have been an accident. So the safety mandate, and it's Rockland News, but everybody's on board with this because we've seen it with our own two eyes that people need to stay alert, follow traffic laws, and share the roads safely. So Rockland County is encouraging all road users to take the following precautions. 1, slow down and obey posted speed limits. Never drive, walk, ride, or bike while distracted. And also, as a bicyclist, please wear your helmet. It's a law. Never drive impaired. Check. Watch for pedestrians and cyclists at all times, and especially as you're coming up against crosswalks and intersections. You never know if somebody on the other end, like if they're on the left-hand side or the right-hand side of you, slow down a little bit because you never know. Some idiot could be looking at their phone or distracted driving and not even see the stop sign or the traffic light, and it could just T-bone you. Not cool. You don't want that. So go a little slower. You cross the walk at marked crosswalks whenever possible and make eye contact with drivers before crossing. Wear bright or reflective clothing when walking or biking at night. Cyclists must wear helmets, use front and rear lights, along with adequate wheel reflectors at night, and obey all traffic laws. Follow those precautions to prevent crashes and keep pedestrians and cyclists safe. Traffic-related crashes have caused many injuries and fatalities. In Rockland County in 2024, 200 pedestrians were injured and 8 were killed in crashes. And in 2025, one of our own friends, Steve Redner, was killed in a car accident on Route 287, the thruway. Was killed. It was a late night thing. He was trying to fix his car. A drunk driver slammed into him. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is an issue that's affected my life as well. I think I've spoken with you a few times about this. That, I mean, quite frankly, my own father was killed in a car accident when I was 12 years old. He was changing a tire right across the way from Yankee Stadium on the Harlem River Drive. I think he was coming up to visit me and my mom up in Rockland County. He pulls over to the side of the road. He gets out of the car. He goes to open up the trunk, and a drunk driver slammed right into him. I'd like to think he was killed instantly or close to instantly. It's the only comfort that I can take solace in with that. So it's something that's near and dear, not just to my heart, but also now the heart of Rockland's news. And coincidentally, Rockland County, they are all on board with this. And as a matter of fact, we also announced this. We're also going to parlay what we feel into our 12th annual concert. Rockland Music Fest 12 will be held on Saturday, September 12th, 2026. We got a lot of announcements that are coming out on July 12th. We'll have more announcements on August 12th. Tickets will be on sale this summer. And then on September 12th, we will have the concert. And I can guarantee you this one is going to not just be one of the most enjoyable concerts that you've ever been to locally around here, but also we're going to make sure that we donate money back to families that were affected by traffic accidents and their family members were killed. We've already reached out to several families to talk about this. There's one more that we have to reach out to. And once we get all that information, we'll likely be announcing the families that will be the recipients of our charitable contributions this year as a result of Rockland Music Fest 12. So stay tuned. If you want to check out some of the stuff that we've done before, head over to rocklandsmusicfest.com. You can see the concert from last year. You can also download the Roku app simply by going to your Roku streaming device and typing in Rockland Music Fest. Plus, there's a bunch of videos on YouTube and Facebook. Just go somewhere and look for it if you're really interested at this point. I'm sure, intelligent people that listen to this show, I'm sure that will not be a problem. And, that's just one item that is of concern. But as you can tell in this political season, there's a lot of things that are really going to, I'd say, boil up to the top, especially during these, I'm hoping, some debates about the issues. Because how do I put this? I don't like to bring in national politics into these things these days. It's just I don't want to be in that fight, rah, and everything like that. And I know it gets like that. And some of it's just entertainment. I get it, But at the same time, during that entertainment, whatever it may be, when the issues come up, these are real issues that affect all of us in Rockland County over the last 2, 4, 6, 8 years. So sometimes course corrections need to be made, especially at the congressional, senator, and New York State governor level. And this is the time where we as Rocklanders are able to make a change. As I said once when I was going to Rockland Community College before I transferred, change the system. So this is your opportunity to make a change in the system. Coming up on Rockland's News tomorrow, we are going to have Tom Brady, who will be live stream. Yes, his name is Tom Brady. Thomas Brady is a sports performance coach in Rockland County. I liked his name, so I hired him. And he does sports performance coaching. And he's also in Ireland right now with I believe, the GAA women's soccer team. And they're going to be doing a tournament out there. And he's going to be live streaming from Ireland. I think this is a first for Rockland's News, so it should be very interesting. You could tune into that if you catch our Facebook page. He will be on, I'm guessing, probably tomorrow at about 9:30 in the morning. But if you missed the episode, don't worry, because you can always catch those episodes on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, where we load our interviews, including the one that we had today with Village of Nyack Mayor Joe Rand, who's going to be challenging Senator Bill Weber, Senate District 38, for that spot come November 3rd. So we got a lot going on. The music festival, traffic safety awareness, the local elections. Plus, we want to thank our sponsors before we get off the air. And let me just head over to our sponsors list and thank them all, because you are all awesome. The New York Boulders baseball team, Work Smart New York Business Boot Camp, Yabu Fence Company for all your fence needs. You could turn your backyard into an oasis, but you got to protect it as well. And they also have outdoor furniture, lawn ornamentation, and such. Dana Pest Control, located in Tompkins Cove, New York. They provide pest management services for commercial and residential. If you need to get rid of some things that are just bothering you in the house, like, crawling on the wall or scuttering, you want to call Dana Pest Control and they're a third generation family business. They cover all of the tri-state area. Easy Temp, located in Hackensack, New Jersey, for all your ice machine repair needs. That was a little too loud. For all your ice machine repair needs. And you can visit them at easytemp.net. They can handle any deli or restaurant's commercial refrigeration services and commercial air conditioning and such. If you go to these following restaurants and or entertainment places, mention Rockland's News and get a discount or a free thing. Fiesta Acapulco, you get a free shot of coquito at the end of your dinner. Just mention Rockland's News and they will bring it out to you. Pretty cool. Kobe Sushi with their jazz music lounge. We were there last night. Music on Wednesdays and Fridays and Saturday nights. Last night we had George Romano over there, and he did about 2 hours of just light strumming jazz. Guy can really play solos. I was very impressed. We're going to be talking probably this weekend about some things. If you mention Rockland's News, you get 15% off your entire sushi order. Now it's minimum $75, but that's still $10.25 off of your order. You can bring like a $75 order down to $64.75. Oh my. Breakpoint Bowling. This is still in the works as far as like, whether the coupon and everything, but we talked about maybe if you're listening to this, if you go to Breakpoint Bowling and you mention Rockland's News, you get a free $10 arcade card for use with your family to try it out. They have 20 bowling lanes, beautiful facility, huge screen TVs. They did a $2 million renovation to beautify the entire facility. They got Joey A's, the restaurant. They got DJ on the weekend. They have an arcade, a full arcade, as well as a laser tag arena. I mean, it's just amazing. So you got to check it out. BreakpointBowl.com. They're located in West Haverstraw, New York. Beautiful place. Whole Shot Bagels in Haverstraw, New York, right on Route 9W. If you mention Rockland's News, you get a free bagel. First-time customers only. Stony Point Massage, Kimio Matthews, UPS store in West Haverstraw. Stony Point, North Rockland Chiropractic. That's Dr. Anna Marie. I'm due for an adjustment over there. Ivy Rehab Physical Therapy, Dr. Nicholas Kirkpatrick in West Haverstraw, New York. 99 Signs for all your digital, billboard, and portable sign needs. FZ Perfection Auto Body Repair and Clean Space Maintenance Management Company. So that's all for today. We're going to be back probably later on, either today, definitely tomorrow, with Tom Brady's update called All Things Sports. And again, he's going to be live streaming from Ireland on the GAA soccer tournament out there, the women's soccer tournament. And I hear soccer is all the rage right now, so you might want to check in on that. He'll have some interviews with the main coach that's going to be coaching the team, so it should be fun. And if you missed any of the interview with Nyack Village Mayor Joe Rand, we had him on before. He's challenging Senator Bill Weber for Senate District 38 this fall. It will be available on Apple Podcast and Spotify Podcast in just a little while, so you can listen to the interview, and hopefully it will be useful for you to make your choices in November. I'm your host, Tom Ossa. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll catch you next time. Take care for now.